Okay, so today's class, we want to, hello again, everyone, welcome. We want to speak about identifying personal biases. We all are biased about one thing or another, but when it comes to us, we don't realize that. So we're gonna discuss today how we can, how we identifying it and so on. And the reason we're discussing all of those things, how to become better people. As we know, we're getting closer to Rosh Hashanah. Sorry, I get hoarse again. Although camp is over, but I don't know what's wrong. And we're getting close to Rosh Hashanah. It's the month of Elul. And Hashem is close to us as we discussed. And we want to become better people. So in BBC, at the radio station BBC in England, some years ago, a person by the name, I gotta remember his name, Beryl Gartner, had shared the following story. Unfortunately, in the late 1930s, when the Nazi regime started uprising in Europe, and people had seen, hello, Faina, welcome. We didn't have you for a while. It's so nice to have you join us. People have seen that the Nazi regime is starting to become stronger and stronger in Austria, in Germany, in Poland, in many countries. And it was very dangerous. So after Kristallnacht, as unfortunately we all know what Kristallnacht was, the Britain government decided to save many Jewish children. It was before the war, it was in 1936, and it was called Kinder Transport. Kinder Transport. They took children, they saved children. It was before the war started. And as the Nazis at that time did allow people still to leave their countries, but because Great Britain had realized the danger for the Jewish people, so they took children out of the countries of those places that were occupied by the Nazi regime that they knew that is very dangerous for the Jewish people. And about 10,000 Jewish children, thank God, were saved and were brought to Britain. Single family homes have adopted them, and many orphanages have adopted. That's a big number, can hold 10,000 children. And at the end, many of those children were the sole survivors of their families, of their towns. Very sad, as we know what happened once the war started. When those children were brought in, they tried to make them as happy as they can, get them stuff, and so on and so forth. There was one child by the name Beryl Gartner that was very not happy. He was crying, he was weeping. He did not like his new place. He kept on yearning and missing his parents. And the orphanage people at work, they were good people. They wanted to save those children. They obviously took upon themselves the job to save the children. They kept on asking him what they can do. They offered him games, different foods, toys. Nothing helped. He was a young child. He was a child of 11 years old. That's very young to be torn away from your parents, God forbid. And he really missed his parents. And nothing helped to calm him down, because he kept on saying that nothing makes him happy. He's worried about his parents. He's afraid they're going to perish, and he really wants to see them. And then one day they heard that King George VI, who was the father of the late Queen Elizabeth, he said that he liked to come at times to visit his subjects, as we say, his people. And it was 1938, I think. He was king. I wrote it down so I don't make a mistake. From 1936 to 1952. He passed away quite young, as we know, and that's what Queen Elizabeth was a queen for so many years, because she became queen quite young in her life. He came, he wanted to see the orphanages. He wanted to meet those children that his country was saving. And the children have heard that the royal family, King Edward VI, was coming to visit. And he came with a whole entourage, with chariots, with the horses, with the bodyguards. It all was amazing, nice, very royal. And when he heard that the king was coming, already a few weeks before, they were all preparing, he became happier. He wasn't as sad anymore. And they asked him why, and he didn't say why. But it seemed like he had something in his mind that he was so excited that the king was coming. Obviously, it's a true story that I'm sharing with you. And the day came, and king came. And it's amazing, for us to imagine that, a king. We never really seen a king. We know there's prime minister, this, but to see a king in presence face to face. And there were many barricades, right, as police put, so people don't get too close and so on and so forth. And the king is, this nice parade is coming slowly, slowly. The chariot stops and waves, and the king wants to see the children, everybody from far, obviously. And the little Beryl, the 11-year-old little boy, is standing with all the kids. And as the king approaches and he sees the chariot, the beautiful wagon with the horses, with all the people, he all of a sudden gets so much energy. Every ounce of power that he has, and he jumps and he runs over all the people, over all the barricades. He runs as quick as he can. He flies basically to get close, imagine, to the king. And he jumps to the king's chariot. That's how the story was when they said it over the news many years ago on BBC in England. They said the Jewish boy who jumped into the chariot of King Edward VI. And here King George VI. The people around, it was done so quickly that people didn't realize. And now the bodyguards all of a sudden see a child jump in, and he is heading to the king. They caught him. They don't know what he has. He might not have a weapon, but maybe he has something in his hands. Maybe he wants to hit the king. Maybe he wants to do something. I mean, their job is to protect the king. So they caught him and they were holding him. They didn't hurt him, but they were holding him really tight so he cannot run any longer. And the child, Beryl, started screaming, please, please, let me go to the king. Let me go to the king. Please, don't hold me. And the king turns around and he sees all this commotion and he says, what's going on? What's going on? So they told him exactly what happened. So he was quiet. He thought for a minute and he said, please, let me speak to the child. I want to see what the child wants. So they checked this, so the child doesn't have anything dangerous in his hands, in his pockets, nothing. So they brought him closer to the king. And the king looked at him and the king said, what do you want? Why did you jump into my chariot, into my wagon? And the child couldn't speak. He started crying and sobbing louder and louder. And the king said, please calm down. Tell me, what bothers you? What can I do for you? And he said, and he started speaking with his crying voice. He said, your honesty, your majesty, I want you to know that I'm very, very grateful what you have done to all the children, to me and all my friends and many, many thousands of boys and girls. You brought us here. But I really, really miss my parents and I'm very worried about them. I'm very afraid that they might die and I'll never see them again. And I really want to see my parents. Please, please, Your Majesty, can you help me? The king became very serious and the king said, my sweetheart, I wish I can help you, But you know that there is a war now in Europe. We are at war with them. And he said, I know there is a war, and that's why I'm worried. But you are the king. You are the king of Great Britain. You can do anything you want. You can do everything. Please, please save my parents. Please bring them here. And he kept on pleading. And it was so heart-wrenching to hear his pleas. So the king said, I promise you that I'll try to do my best, but I cannot promise you that I'll get your parents out because England and Germany are at war. We are trying to save the people from there, but Germany doesn't let. It's not so easy. And the child thanked him, and they took the child away, and the child went back to the orphanage. And he was always afraid that he's going to pay severely for this. He's going to be punished for behaving like that. But he never heard anything. And a month passed by, a second, a third, a fourth, many months passed by. And one day, the orphanage person was in charge, the counselor, whatever, comes to him and he says, you've got to come with me to the office. And Beryl's little heart started pounding. Wow, they never punished me yet. Probably now I'm going to pay the price that I ran like that to the kings. I jumped into the king's, wagon and so on. Who knows what they're going to do? And he comes and to the place, and who is there? The king. The king tells him that I have a prize for you. Hello, Linda. Nice to see you. I have a prize for you. I have a surprise for you. And he thought, what surprise will he get? Like, let's see what he's going to get now. And I'm sorry, I think I made a mistake. I don't think the king was there. The people of the orphanage were there, and they said, we have a surprise for you. Sorry. And he thought, what surprise? They're probably going to, show me my punishment I'm going to get now. And I have, I just read that story, heard the story yesterday. I have goosebumps when I think about it. And they opened the door. And you know who stood by the door? Who was entering the orphanage? Beryl Gardner's both parents, his father and his mother. He reunited with them. He wanted them so much that he has done something beyond comprehension. And the 11-year-old child should run across, should fly across so many people, all the barricades, all the police, all the guards, and actually have the guts to jump into the king because he really, really wanted to save his parents. He wanted to see his parents. He was so worried that his parents might die at the war. And who knows what would happen to them if not the bravery act of the king. Because when the king asked him about his parents, he told him everything. He said their names, where they live, the house, the street, everything that he knew about them. He told the king to have the evidence for the king to be able to find them. I forgot to tell you that part, obviously. And the king told him, thank you, let me see what I can do, but I cannot promise you because we are at war with them. But he told him everything, and here it happened. I found that it's such an amazing miracle from many of the miracles that we know that happened in the Shoah during the Holocaust. And this is one amazing one. And the reason I decided to share it with you today is because we know that now we are in the month of Elul. Elul is the month that is right before Rosh Hashanah, is the month, as we spoke, that Hashem is so close to us. And the Alter Rebbe explains that the month of Elul is a parable to a king that used to be that once a year, he used to take a whole month and he would go out to the field and go visit, meet his subjects, as we say, his people. During the year, it's very hard to get to the king. Not everybody can get to the king. You have to have a special permission. You have to write a letter of request. You have to go through so many chambers, so many departments, so many levels, and then you might be able to see the king, and you might not. And 1 month a year, the king would go to the field, and anybody can come. Any person can come because you don't have to go. The king is in the field, he's open. Every person, he gets everyone. Everyone can come. He sees everyone. He smiles to everyone. He grants everyone's wishes as to the best of his ability. He does everything that the people want. And the Alter Rebbe said this is a parable to what Hashem and the Jewish people are. During the 11 months of the year, when it's a leap year, like next year, 12 months, we can always go and daven to Hashem. We can always speak to Hashem, but it's a little bit harder to reach Him. It's a little bit harder to get our prayers because it goes through many chambers, so many levels. But the month of Elul that we are in now, that today is the 5th already of Elul, right? Rosh Chodesh was Sunday, Monday, or the 4th of Elul today. Hashem, the whole month is like in the field. The 13 attributes of mercy are very present here. Hashem is very tangible. If we want, we can tap to the King. Hello, Alice. Thanks for joining us. Didn't see you in a while. So good to have you here again.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, Elise. Hashem is so close to us. We can ask anything we want. And I felt that this story, the true story of Beryl Gardner, how he shared it many years later when he was an adult, how he was able to bring his parents. We should learn from this story. This is the same. Hashem is here, Hashem is close to us, and we have to jump. We have to fly. We have to go through, break all the barricades that are between us. We build those barricades. We say, well, I'm not such a good person. I did this, I did that. Who knows if I really deserve to come so close to Hashem. I deserve to ask for a blessing. I deserve this. Hashem will not answer. God forbid, I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to get that. No, Hashem wants us. Hello, Rivki. Thanks for joining us all the way from New York. I know I'm now in same time zone as you. I'm very tired. I couldn't understand. Rivki, our beautiful bride that is getting married in less than 3 weeks. Bezat Hashem. So amazing. So now is the time. It's a special month. Rivki, you're getting married. The month of Elul is the time for us to pray to Hashem, to jump through all the barricades, to say, no, there is nothing that's between me and God. I can reach everything, but I really have to want it. Like that 11-year-old boy, I know those of you who came later did not hear, perhaps you'll hear the story, the class when it will be recorded, when you're going to be able to play them in the recording. That 11-year-old son, the 11-year-old child that really, really wanted to see his parents, and he behaved in something that's unthinkable. He did everything he can. Hello, Rosie. Was he wanted to save his parents. He wanted to see his parents. So he jumped, he flew to King George VI to his chariot when he came to visit the orphanage because he wanted to meet his parents. We have another person that is close to our heart, that is a matriarch of ours, that is a woman, Queen Esther. If you remember the story of Purim, Queen Esther, when she went to the king, remember the king Ahasuerus did not call her, and she was afraid that she will be killed because she knew that the king Ahasuerus, if he doesn't call you, if he doesn't stretch out the scepter to you, he might decide even to kill you, even if you are his queen, as he has done with Vashti. And Esther said, the king didn't call me already for 30 days. But then she knew that she has to save the Jewish people. This is her job now, to save the Jewish people. So she jumped through. She went to the king the way it is, even though he didn't call her, because she knew who is going to save her. Who is the real king? The real king is Hashem above. Hashem below. Hashem is here. Hashem, the children's song, Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. God is everywhere. God is here, there, up, down, right, left, all around. Hashem is nature, Hashem is the power, Hashem is everywhere. We have to decide that we want to become better people. We want to have a good year, and we have to break through all the barricades. We don't have to be afraid. We shouldn't make any barriers for ourselves, whether police put it or somebody put it. Most of the time, we put it to ourselves and we say, no, I can't change. I cannot become a better person. I'm trying so hard. I'm doing my best, but I can't be any better. No, we can do better and better and better. Like this little child, he's done something so heroic that if he was to ask somebody, if he would think about it, he would never think that he can achieve it. But he went beyond. And that's what Hashem wants us to do the month of Elul. I think that there is no way that I can achieve a certain level of holiness, a certain mitzvah that is so difficult for me to do. A certain mitzvah, whether it's in kosher food, whether it's in Shabbos, whether it's in modesty, whether it's in mikvah, whatever that is. And it's so hard for me to do it. And I don't think I can achieve it. I'm not telling it to you, I'm telling it myself as well, all of us. There's many things that I say, there's no way I can do it. But there is a way. I can do it. I can do it. You can do it. We can all do it. We only have to want. And if we really want, yes, we have to do like Beryl did, like he jumped. He jumped into King George chariot because he knew that that was his only chance that he had, that he was able to run and ask for him to save his parents from Nazi Germany. And he did. And we know that this is our chance. This is the month. This is the chance. We shouldn't think, oh, we'll do it tomorrow. We have another 20 days. We have another 10 days. We have another day. We have another hour. Today is the chance. Now is the chance for me to decide, yes, I can do it. Can become a better person. I can go over all those obstacles that I think I cannot do, but I could do. And this is our introduction to our class that we wanted to discuss today, identifying personal biases. Remember last class, those of you who joined us, we spoke about how do we break patterns that are damaging. We have many patterns that we do, we keep on repeating them over and over and over, and we know that they're damaging, they're wrong. We're bringing ourselves to the same situation that we know that when we are in that situation, it'll be hard for us to overcome the temptation of that time, whatever the temptation is, whether it's in food, whether it's in keeping Shabbos, whether it's in modesty, the way we behave. We know that when we bring ourselves to that situation, to that pattern, we're going to make the mistake again and again, and we'll still do it, and we'll still do it. But we can break it once we decide, no, it's not good, let me try to break it. We spoke about it, how Hashem told Avram to leave his country, remember, to leave his birthplace, to leave, and where he should go. And we discussed last week, why did Hashem tell him so many times? I'm just going to repeat it quickly, just it will remind us, it will help us to understand what we want to discuss today as well. Last class we were discussing about breaking damaging patterns. Hashem should tell Avram, leave your place and go to the new place. But Hashem is spending so much time, the Torah is spending so much time telling him what he should leave, what he should leave, what he should leave behind, and where he should go is very short, to the land I'll show you. Why spend so much time on the past? Let's go forward. Yes, in order to break a pattern that is damaging, in order to bring a pattern, in order to break a situation that we put ourselves into, and it's damaging to us, it's not good to us on a spiritual sense, which means also on a physical sense, because if something is not good for our neshama, for our spirit, for our soul, then it's not good for our body as well, obviously. You have to leave the past. You have to make sure to understand. You have to think about it, ponder about it. Why I have to leave it? Why do I have to go to another place? Because Hashem told Avram, leave the past, leave the damaging patterns. Think about it again and again. Why shouldn't I be there? Why shouldn't I do this? Why shouldn't I do this? Why shouldn't I be in this place and this time and so on? And how I should behave. because I lose myself when I'm in this situation. I lose myself when I'm in this situation. So let me try not to be in those situations. In order for me to achieve a higher level, in order for Abraham to go to the new land, to Israel, he had to leave the past behind him. He had to leave the things that weren't good. Because if you still carry with yourself the old baggage, the things that are, the patterns that are damaging, all the things that are not good, then it's very hard to change. How can we change? When we think, yes, I shouldn't put myself in that situation again and again. Only then I can achieve something new. If I know that when I'm in this situation, I get angry, so I have to try not to get close to these people, to those situations. If I know that I'm not going to be modest, if I know that I'm going to be in this store, I'm not going to retain I'm going to want to buy something not kosher, I won't be able to keep kosher, and so on, different situations that you're in, then try not to be in them. Today that we're discussing identifying personal biases, we again looking at Avraham. What Hashem told Avraham, the first Jew, Hashem really had a message to all of us as well. As we discussed many times, the Torah, the 5 books of the Torah, it tells us many things that happen, history of our forefathers, and matriarchs. And do you think the Torah told us all the stories that happened through their lifetime? They lived hundreds of years those times. Hashem did not write every story that happened with them. Obviously, the ones that the Torah, that God decided to reveal to us, yes, to tell us, it's a lesson to us. Because the Torah is not a history book. Whatever the Torah has, it's something to teach us. The Torah is span of over thousands of years, and the 40 years the Jewish people were in the desert, we have so many details and other things that when 1,000 years, Hashem, the Torah mentions only a few episodes, and then when it speaks about Avraham, it speaks so much and so, right? So we know that this wasn't just Hashem wanted to tell us that he told Avraham to leave his country. This is something to teach us, the descendants of Avraham. So let's try to understand a little bit more in deep, a little bit more in depth. Sorry again for my hoarse voice. I think it's also the late hour and lots of driving and not sleeping and so on. I really hope it's going to pass by soon. Hashem told Avraham, I want you to become on a higher level. I want you to become a better person, which is speaking to all of us. So what is the first thing you have to leave? Leave your country. Leave your place. What does it mean leave your country? Think about the place where you are, the country, the people, the culture, the neighbors, the society, the surroundings, and think, what are you learning from all of them, from all of that? Are there many things that we are doing, many patterns, many personal biases, many things that we're doing because we had learned it from the society, from the country, from our neighbors, peer pressure? Could be that if we lived in another place, we would behave differently. I am sure that each one of us, if we think honestly, without being biased with ourselves, and think honestly, right, there are many things that I do that perhaps I wouldn't do, and it's not a good thing for me to do, but I do because I live in this place and I have a lot of peer pressure from my friends and from workplace and just many things, and the way I dress and the way I speak and what I say. It could be if I lived in another country, I would be in another place, I would behave differently. So there's many beautiful things that we do because we live in the country we live and the neighbors we have in the society and the peer pressure we have. If we have good friends, we have peer pressure. It's good sometimes. We should always have, we can have peer pressure to be more modest. We can have peer pressure to keep kosher. We can have peer pressure to keep Shabbos, uh, we can have peer pressure like that if we live in such a society, or if we live in a society that is against, not for Torah, and so on and so forth. So this, what Hashem told Avram, you have to leave that. Think. There's many things that you do that could be that is an influence from society, and you have to decide if it's good influence or not. Many things are, but some things that are not, you should try to change. You should not follow just because you live there. So this is more like round, right? This is the country, the society. What else did Hashem tell Avram? Hashem told him, Lech lecha me'artzecha, mimoladetcha, mibeit avicha, from the house of your father. That's the second subject, subjectivity that we have to think. What is the second one? The family. We don't even realize many times it's just the influence of the family is so subtle, it's so normal in the family we grew up in that we don't even realize um, which things we're learning and how it's affecting us and so on and so forth. And many times, just want to be able to see everyone, but it's, today today the way my hello Luba, I see there's other people, Rosh Hashanah, other people joined, and I wasn't able to see and to greet everyone. So sorry if I did not say hello to you. I don't know, it doesn't show me everyone. So the family, obviously, we love our parents, we love our siblings, we love our aunts and uncles, and so on and so forth. And there's many beautiful, beautiful things we learn. But I'm sure there's some things also that, as we know, no one is perfect. There's many things in each one's family that is not perhaps the greatest. And that's what Hashem told Avram, which means Hashem told us. We have to identify it, we have to think about it, and we have to think about it, subjectively and think, is it a good trait or not? Could be I'm doing many things just because I got used to from my parents, from my grandparents, from my siblings, but is it the right thing or not? Am I getting nervous about things that are not important and so on, the way I eat, the way I act, what I learned, what they do? My family was a wonderful family, but it's not their choice, it's not their fault, but perhaps they did not know a lot about Torah and they did not have the chance. It's not their fault. But now that I do know, I cannot say, well, because my parents didn't eat kosher, then I don't have to eat kosher. My parents didn't keep Shabbos, or my parents get angry about everything and start yelling and screaming and fighting about everything, then I have to do that as well. Or obviously not. They grew up in a different atmosphere. They had a harder life, whatever it is. We obviously always judge someone else, benefit of a doubt. We should never judge someone else. We can only judge ourselves. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be honest with ourselves. Just because we love our parents dearly, we'll do anything for our parents. We're so thankful to them. And it's a mitzvah in the Torah that we have to obey our parents. We have to listen to our parents. We have to respect our parents. It's one of the 10 commandments. If it was not a hard mitzvah to do, it wouldn't be one of the 10 commandments. We have only 10 commandments. We have 613 mitzvot. And one of the 10 commandments is honor your father and your mother. In another place, say, fear your mother and father. So sometimes it's father first, sometimes it's mother first. In order to teach us that both are as important. And it's not easy. It's so easy to lose it. It's very easy to lose it with our parents. So what I'm saying here, we have to respect our parents very much. We have to thank them for everything a lot. It's a mitzvah. It's an obligation from the Torah. It's one of the Aser Sadiros, 10 commandments. On the other hand, we have to think, because Hashem told Avram, leave your parents' house. What did it mean to say those things that are not perfect? That you know that you can do better, not because you are a better person, not because you are smarter, because you were born a generation later and you had learned so much from your parents and you realize that certain things are not good to do. Obviously, your parents could not do it probably because what they came from, their history, what they went through, wars and difficult life and so on and so forth. A lot of trauma they went through that it still sits in them. And that's why certain things perhaps they couldn't do. And again, we cannot judge them. We're not allowed to judge anyone, for sure not to judge our parents. But we have to realize what is right, what is good, what is not good. And we should learn only the good things, and the things that we can change, we should change. So here are the two things Hashem told Avram about society, about peer pressure to see what's good and what's not good, how important it is to do, girls. about our family, how important that is to do. And the third one, the closest to us. So you see, first is like the surrounding, the country, the friends, the workplace, peer pressure all around. Then it's the family, it's closer. And then it's us. Hashem told Avram, "Moladetecha," where you were born, your birthplace, your birth, your own body, your own person. What does it mean? We know that we love ourselves. There is no person that is not biased about ourselves. Why do we love our children so much? Sometimes when you think about it, I remember discussing it with someone or thinking about it myself. We're supposed to love everyone. Why do we love our children so much? Because our children are part of us. So when we look at our children, we see ourselves in it. We feel it's a part of us, right? They were born from us. So we want to protect them because we want to protect ourselves as well. Obviously, we always want to give our children more than we want to give ourselves. But by nature, and this is a normal thing that Hashem created, that every person love themselves. We love ourselves and we always want to protect ourselves. We want everything good for us. And this is third thing that Hashem told Abraham, you have to identify the personal biases that you have. Don't be biased for yourself. It's true you love yourself, but you have to think, yeah, you love yourself because Hashem wants you to do this now, because this is the right thing to do, because you're being selfish. It's very not easy not to be selfish, girls. We don't even realize how selfish we are with many, many things. Very few people are very selfless all the time. All of us are selfless many, many times. And that's what now is the month of Elul, is the month that we want to become better people. That's why we're bringing up those subjects. Hello, Adina, welcome. We want to teach ourselves how to try to look beyond, and the love should not blind us. You know, they say blind, love is blind. You fall in love with someone and then you don't see any of their blemishes. You don't see any of their wrongdoings. That's just the way it is. It's hard to see. Oh, it's your spouse, it's your this, it's your child. They cannot do anything wrong. If somebody else does it, then they're wrong. By the way, just reminded me something. It says that that when people go up there to heaven, they are being judged midatov shalom midatov, with their own knowledge and not with their own knowledge. What does it mean? We give ourselves. Love is not blind. It is some things that you can. I'm sorry, I didn't read what you wrote, but I'm sure it's very good. Cheryl, you said love is not blind. Yeah, sometimes it's blind, sometimes it's not blind. It's true. We judge ourselves. What does it mean? That it says in the Torah, but a person passed on. I don't want to say passes on, because we believe very strongly that Moshiach is going to come any day, and Moshiach is coming, and that's what the Rebbe told us, the prophecy, and we have to believe in it. So I'm not saying when somebody will die, God forbid, when people passed away before and they would come to heaven, God did not tell them, you did so many wrong things, that's your punishment. Hashem would tell them, this and this person, somebody else has done this and this and this, all the wrongdoings, what somebody else have done. What do you think that person deserves? Because they have done so many wrong things. And what do? It's very easy for us to judge someone else. We just said we're not allowed to judge someone else, but it's easy for us to be judgmental about someone else, not about ourselves. It's hard for us to see how someone else is so good. We always think we are the best and we are right. That's the way we are. So what did the people do? What did the soul do? The neshama of the person said, oh, they deserve this, they deserve this, they do all the harsh punishments. And then the Bedin, the Jewish court in heaven, the Bedin, God would tell them, okay, you are the one that transgressed all of the things that we just told you. So you gave just yourself, you gave the verdict to yourself. It sounds scary. It does sound scary. But it's so true when we think about it. because when I do the same mistake, it's so hard for me to think about myself and say, well, I have done this. This is so wrong. But when, and I really shouldn't do it again and reprimand myself. It's very hard to do it. But it's so much easier when I see it in my friend, in my spouse, in my child, in a coworker, whatever it is. I'm so quick right away to judge them. Why didn't they do it? Why didn't they do it on time? What do you mean they forgot? Or, you know. So the lesson from today's class is that tonight might be late. For me, it's already late. For some of us who are far, like Risha and Rivki, and perhaps some of us who are, even in Calgary. It's also getting late. It's almost 9 o'clock. But perhaps tomorrow, Shabbos, Sunday, try to think of something of a pattern that we have that is a negative bad pattern. We have many of them, but try to think of one and think of a situation, if I did not, if I thought about it a little bit more, would I behave the same way in that particular situation? Something that happened. If I really thought about the three things that Hashem told Avram, leave your birthplace, leave your country, leave your parents' house, leave your father's house, if I did not put in all the things that I'm used to doing, all the baggage that I have with me, and I would think without any biases, I would think really honestly, would I behave the same or not? And this is a good way to start analyzing, to start thinking, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How many times during the day I know I tell myself, oh, I act, I answer quickly to someone, whatever, something that I do. And then I tell myself, well, I wonder if I said that and somebody answered me in such a way, how would I take it? If I did it, I probably would have forgiven myself faster. So I want to wish everyone a good Shabbos. And let's think about that wonderful story of Beryl Gardner, how he ran to that chariot of King George VI to try to save, in order to plead to save his parents. Let's really try to feel that we are now in the month of Elul. The month of Elul also, girls, we have a special, see if I can read. Agree with you, Alice, 100%. Let's try um, to take the opportunity that we have this month now, that we can do extra thing to pray to Hashem. You know that the month of Elul, every single day, we say, if we daven Shacharit and Mincha, and if you don't daven, you just say the morning blessings, you can still say during the day, chapter of Tehillim, chapter 27. It says it's very good to say chapter 27 every day in the month of Elul. We continue it later in Rosh Hashanah as well. But now let's concentrate on the month of Elul. We say chapter 27. Something else special that we do in the month of Elul, that from the beginning of the month of Elul, we say every day 3 new chapters. Thank you. 3 chapters. So the first day, Rosh Chodesh, because it's 30 days, we do Aleph, Bet, Gimel, 1, 2, 3, and then we do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We always add 3 more chapters in order later by the end of Yom Kippur, we finish the whole Tehillim. So it just many customs we have that give us that are giving us the ability, the opportunity to daven more, to pray more, to think about ourselves. And that's why the classes this month, we're trying to speak about how to become better people, how to become happier people. If I'm in a situation and I had to break off from a friend or in a marriage or co-worker or something happened and we grew apart or something, let me try to not think all about the past. Think, okay, that happened. Let me not be angry. Let me not judge the other person. Let me try to forgive. Let me not, you know, be with grudges and be angry all the time and so on and so forth. Let me be happy. Let me smile. Let me see the life. Let me see the good in life. Let me see all the kindness in life. And there is so much kindness. There is so much good in life as well. Obviously, we have many sad things, but there's so much good in life as well. So I want to wish everyone a good Shabbos, all the best. Let's hope that we can have a much better few weeks from now on. Um, thank you. And we should pray for each other, and everyone should be well. And and that will be very special for me to know. You can share with me. You don't have to share with you, just for yourself. If from last class, from this class, if we are able to work on ourselves to break some damaging patterns, to be able to identify some personal biases that we have, there's certain things that I do. Why do I do it? Because I love myself or because I care for someone else? Obviously, we're always going to do things to protect ourselves, and we should. Hashem wants us to love ourselves. It's not good not to love yourself. You have to love yourself, but you have to love yourself in a way that is not damaging someone else. Yeah, I love myself, and that's what I want to eat. But if I'm going to eat, thank goodness I have enough food, Baruch Hashem, now that I can share with someone else. And if I don't have so much to share, so maybe I can share a little bit, so at least I'm not hungry and the other person is not hungry, because I shouldn't eat so much that I have so much and somebody has so little. You know what I'm trying to say? So we want to try to share what we have, to be happy, not to hold grudges, and to try to break some of our damaging patterns, to try to be honest with ourselves and think, why am I doing this? Because this is the right thing to do, or because it makes me feel good? And it's good for something to make me feel good, but does it make other people feel bad? Does it do something bad into the environment? Have a good